How's it going? Wooden Spoon Supercoach here. Starting off with the prize pool, got a couple of hits. Makapsu got Broncos 13 plus, and because I missed last week, he got a $10 stake, which was half of the budget. There were only two bets, and then this guy split his bet into each of these individually and then one multied. Got Herbie, $5 added, and Makapsu has found himself in third place, and I've got a feeling he'll be catching up to these two with how much he's been commenting lately, so shout out to you, bro. Appreciate the support. So that brings the prize pool up to just about $370. It's starting to become a pretty juicy prize pool for whoever takes it out at the end of this year. And with that, let's go have a look at the scores. Let's not fucking talk about this one for too long. At least I had all the guys that went big. Fletcher Sharp with an 119, huge. It was looking pretty dire in the first half, but we all know how that went. James Schiller with an 110, 436k, and there's probably a reason for that. Yeah, this game is definitely an outlier. Don't go looking at him. Kai Pearce-Paul with a 97, kind of awkwardly priced. I don't think he's someone you'd want to be bringing in your second row. Dane Gagai, however, with the injury to Kale Iro, I can actually free up like 150k by going him to Gagai. Gagai has kept the goal kicking, and Pong has been named again, so he'll probably keep hold of the goal kicking for at least the next few weeks. I'll be getting straight on him. He's been very consistent since he has picked up the goal kicking. I mentioned him in a previous video. So yeah, even beforehand, he's just really, since round 8, he's had a low of 64. I think he's trying to prove a point about getting his spot back in Origin. But with the teams list I've seen for the Queensland team, Billy's fucking not hesitating and making some changes, put it that way. So Dane Gagai, I'll be getting in unless I come across something better. Dylan Lucas with a 70 is beautiful. We take that. Greg Marzu back with a 67. 640k. The Knights do look good in pockets, but I don't know if I have the confidence to bring in another attacking Knights player on top of Fletcher Sharp. I think there's better options. But in saying that, I've never actually had Marzu when he's gone huge. I've always just not been able to make the money work or had other plans or whatever. Ponga with a 63, slightly better, but blacklist, he's done. Never again. Tyson Frizzell with a 6. That was a head knock, I believe. So, yeah, the Knights are a bit decimated. And speaking of decimated, anyone who brought in Hopewadi, that's fucking brutal. At least he updated to a 2. He was on a 0. This does hurt his cash rise. I think that was kind of a factor for a lot of people bringing him in, is that he was going to go up in cash and have potential to score some good points. Now it's just the points, and he'll be out next week, and Manly's bye coverage. So he will miss the Gold Coast game and then have a bye. So Lehigh is a definite sell. Hamoli Olakwatu going huge in the first half and then went quiet in the second half. He could have scored absolutely gigantic, but you don't complain within 115. That's fine. Tolu Kolar has easily been our best player of the season. He has been so consistent. I don't know if that's going to reflect in his Supercoach scores. It kind of does. A low one to start with, but he only played 60 minutes. Then another low one, but then since then, he hasn't hit his floor too many times, and he's been looking at pretty consistent 60s, and there is some ceiling there. 131 against Melbourne, 85 against the Sharks, 78 against the Broncos is also quite good, and he's gone and got a 93 now, so maybe if you're in a tough spot with your Origin cover and you've just got yourself set with Lehigh, you could swap to Kohler, and then it doesn't change any of your buy setup. Ruben Garrick with an 82 is lovely. Did he score? I don't remember. He didn't score. He just got the one try assist that was probably with a line break assist. Nice, good game from Garrick. He was due for one. And I think that's pretty much all the relevance. Oh yeah, Jazz Tavanga with a 59. He's been playing through a fractured rib. What a tough cunt. Those fucking hurt. He's been quite a fucking buy for us this year. He's also been one of our best. DCE. DCE has been dropped from the Queensland team, so he'll be available for Manly as well. With Cleary going kind of underwhelming, he's only got one game in the next 4 matches, I want to say. So there's Origin coming up, then he gets rested after. Let me have a look. Okay, so they've just played the Tigers. Yeah, Origin this week, probably rested against New Zealand. Plays the Bulldogs, that's the one he'll get, then bye again. He does play round 19, so I think you're going to want to try and bring him back for that and then have him for the run home. But for this next stretch of 4, pretty much any halfback in the game is going to outscore him. So I know there's a lot of injuries this week, but For me, I would probably prioritize getting in a Jamal Fogarty, or we'll have a look at some halfback options later. But if you're looking to maintain a rank, then you need those consistent halfback scores coming in. They're important. Move on to Storm Cowboys. And Jerome Hughes owners, there's a halfback option. 130 fucking 6. His break even should even out now. So he's probably the cheapest he'll get. There you go. There's your trade. I didn't realize he was that cheap. The Storm are going to be a different beast for the run home. They always click into another gear coming into finals. So that's maybe I'll even look at putting him in my flex or something, because that's a really good deal. Eli Katoa with a 94, we love that. It feels like it's been a while since he's scored a try, and that Hughes-Katoa combination has gone a bit cold, so it's good to see that heat up again. Harry Grant with an 80, showing glimpses of maybe being worth the trade in for the run home, but that's definitely at the bottom of the priority list. Pappenhausen with a 75 is fine. That break even is pretty rough, but he is very expensive. I think he should be hovering around the sort of high 700s. That seems about right for his price. Munster with a 60, fine. I feel like he didn't do much. 17 in tackles, 12 in tackle busts, forced dropouts, offload, and hit ups. So yeah, just Munster just playing his normal game gets him a 60, which is nice. There's a bit of chat around selling him, which I feel like after this game that might die down a bit. But he does miss next week. I mean, that's a given. He plays Origin. He also misses 18 and 16. So this is kind of the same situation as Cleary, because Xavier Coates and I believe Harry Grant got rested in the first game of Origin. I think this next game of Origin is going to be a lot more physical, because since it is a must-win for Queensland. So I think it's very likely he gets the rest this time around against Souths. Then he has one game against the Sharks, and then he's gone again for Origin. So maybe this could be a good week for a boost if you have any left. We do get 3 trades this week because it's a major bye week, and so Cleary, I think, is a good trade out. I don't have to do that. I've already got rid of him. Cam Munster, I think, is a good trade out, and I kind of have a bit of a wild one for him. Lockie Galvin at the Bulldogs. He misses next week, but we'll get to see him come off the bench against Souths this week. Penrith in round 17, the Bulldogs might put him to the sword. Starless Broncos side might put him to the sword. North Queensland in round 19, again. I love it. The question is, do I go early on him? I mean, I haven't watched the Sunday game. The Monday game. I'm filming this on Monday morning, so I'll get to see him come off the bench. That's the other consideration. You want to get him when he's starting. So with that in mind, I've already got Wishart, who will replace Munster in those games that he misses and gets rested, even though Wishy is on the bye this week anyway, but he plays round 18, which is nice. So Wishy is going to have to go, because he will remain on the bench for the Storm after the Origin period and will become an AE nightmare. It's not that, I've said it a million times this year, it's not that bad having AEs. And he's probably one of the better ones. He can get like a decent score coming off the bench. But if I'm going to try and push my rank as high as possible, I need to just eliminate anything that can be an issue. And he's one of them. So I've got 373 in the bank. I might go Wishy to Galvin early. And then that's one trade. I keep Munster because I want him for the run home, and that's one trade less. And then I do have a backup 5'8". It's a bit of a gamble. We don't know how he's going to go, but I don't really have to play him. If we look at my bench, I've got Teddy, I've got Fogarty, I've got Fanua Blake. So I do need a decent 4th reserve, which is what he'll be. But realistically, Horsburgh's on the chopping block. He's probably going to go to Kaloa Matangi this week as well. So I've got options. And I've been saying I need a pod to be able to move forward. And I've got on a massive fucking tangent. Let's get back to it. Xavier Coates going low in a game where the Storm nearly scored 40. You would not expect that. I was looking at him this week at 700k. I think that's a good price. But I guess they just didn't need to go to his side. Yeah, he's very rocks or diamonds. A little bit concerning that a guy that you would play on matchups went this low when he's got the matchup. So maybe we look at someone a bit more consistent there. For the Cowboys, Drinkwater. Anyone who's still got him, you'd be cheering. He is going to go down a bit of money. And he is just fantastic cover for the rest of the Origin period, so no qualms with having him. In fact, I'm jealous. I haven't had a third fullback. I've been fucking around with Fletcher Sharp down there. Now I'm thinking I'll put Iro down there and trade him out to, I forget who. I'll figure it out later. But yeah, I just can't get the money together for Drinky, unfortunately. Dearden has been called up for the Origin squad. He's another one that you could go for the run home. I think it is kind of getting to the point where we need the run home spreadsheet. And here it is. So, which teams have no buys for the rest of the year? All right, we have Bulldogs, Storm, Dragons, Manly, Roosters, Panthers, Warriors, Eels, Titans. So on paper, those are the guns from the certain teams that you want to prioritize. Buys at the end of the year. Cowboys have the final one at the end of the year. Rabbitohs have the second last one. Not that we're really looking at too many people there, other than Keon. Third last is the Sharks. So they're a team that's good enough to hold players over that period. It does depend on their form, but you could also trade to one of these other teams. So it does make the Sharks a bit more potty for round 26 and 27, so that's something to keep in mind. And any Rabbitohs players in round 27 are going to be massive pods. So Latrell Mitchell, if you've got like one trade left for the last round of the year and you've got a lackluster fullback, Latrell, you just never know. The Rabbitohs are going to need to fight their way into the 8 and they're going to be playing hard. So if I have a trade left, I'll be doing that. The rest of these teams, Raiders, they're scoring good enough that you don't have to worry about it. Tigers, something to consider. They do have a pretty decent draw with Gold Coast, Penrith. Bulldogs is a bit tough. Manly, Cowboys, Canberra's tough, and then Gold Coast again. So that's good for maybe like a Jarrell Skelton. There's probably other Tigers players that I'm blanking on, but I'll now leave a link in the description to both of these tables, the Origin one and the Run Home one. Let's move on to the next game. Dolphins absolutely spanking the Dragons. Asako with an 132. So my opinion on this guy's always been like, yes, he's got these scores in them, but it's all the scores you have to eat between them that really fucking suck. So 96, good. 30, 30, 30, shit. 114, good. 40, 50, 60, 40, meh, okay. 68, okay. 55, okay. 82, yeah, good. And then good this week. So you're probably due for another stretch of 30s. It's not the kind of centre wing I'm after. Herbie Farmworth is much more to my taste. Scoring another try. Look at this. 105, 71, 93, 84, 78, 72, 98, 78, and then his season low of 55, which was in the first month of the year. He is absolutely killing it. I'm so glad I jumped on him when I did. Isaiah Katoa as well, he just continues to fucking kill it. If you need a cheaper option for Cleary, maybe go Isaiah Katoa. He is really proving himself to be the next big thing. And if we have a look at the Dolphins' draw cover, they are good for the rest of the Origin period, bar round 18. So I like him as an option very much. Cody Nikorima would have been an interesting option if he still had the hooker duel, but at 5'8", probably not. The Hammer with only fullback, if he was centre wing duel, I feel like he'd be very highly owned. We just got too many options there. Plath apparently has aggravated his injury, which is a shame since he just got back. And then for the Dragons, really, we'll talk about the forwards. Couchman, you can expect this from him week to week, and he's got a nice duel. What's he priced at now? 550. So if you need some cover that the Dragons provide, sure. Val, nah, I just don't like it. You can go him if you want. It would be different. Different-ish? How owned is he? 10%, so I think you look elsewhere. Gutho with a 41. I mean, they only scored 6 points. That's to be expected. Hamish Stewart, rock solid for me. Chewy Pelotu with the hammy. I had him in my team and then reversed it to bring in a cheapie instead, so I dodged a fucking bullet there. Anyone who brought him in, if you brought him and Lehigh, that's just fucking brutal. But hopefully you've gotten some bad luck out of the way for the rest of the year. Like, God, that'd be devastating. So the battle of the two cheapies, Nathan Lawson and the Titans guy whose name is escaping me, Alan Fitzgibbon, both scored 19s. So Nathan Lawson is the winner there with the -1 break even, but it really doesn't make that much difference. That's it for that game. Sharks, Warriors. Whenever I buy Adden every year, he seems to just stop scoring. So hopefully he's due. I know he can't score every game, but I need that upside from him ASAP. So obviously this game, Kale Iro, he didn't break his try scoring streak, even though he went up the field with, I think it was a hammy. No, it was a peck. So he's a sell, unfortunately. Sione Katoa as well, ankle complaint towards the end. Nico Hines with 48. He's just not hitting the same this year, is he? He'll do for now. His floor isn't terrible, and he hasn't gone near it for a while, so that's okay. His ceiling just seems a bit capped now. McInnes still got a 56, even though he went off with a HIA for 15 minutes. So you still take that regardless. So good to see he can do that with reduced minutes. Now, with Iro and Katoa both out, Mulatalo comes back next week. He could be an option, but also Jesse Ramian. 437k, 104 break even, 1% of teams. Do they start to favour this other side? I don't know. Potential for a Sharks cheapie to come in as well, unless they put Talakai at centre, but they seem to like him at 14. So keeping an eye on the Sharks with that. Chanel Harris Tavita, he would have been such a good pickup if you got him early in the year. He's been pretty consistent, couple of low scores there, but for a cheap guy, he's done very well. Fisher Harris with an 81, scoring a try. Aaron Clark, just, I almost want to trade him in, but it just doesn't feel right. I feel like I've got other people I want, but the other people I want, I'd be happy if they were scoring like this. I suppose if you take out those 200s, I still like Keon better. Voy Mugger had a huge game today, and I think I'm saying it wrong. I believe it's like Vaimauga or something like that. Hopefully I got that right. Metcalf with a 74 just keeps fucking burning me. Okay, not really. He's just got high ceiling, but still scoring around the 50s, 60s. And 5'8's boring this year, so you can totally hold on to him. And I think that's all for that game. Broncos Titans. Katoni Stags. He's just rocks or diamonds. Diamonds in this case. Karapani had a good game. 290k. This is only his first game, so he'd need to play 2 more before his price changes. Job security, I'm not sure about. We'll come back to that once he's played 2. Adam Reynolds with an 84. 628k. Have the Broncos clicked? He does have some lows in him, Reno, but considering how shit the Broncos have been, I think he could be an interesting pod at halfback. He's definitely got some ceiling, and the Broncos appear to have more confidence now, so that's good. Shibasaki doing well, Walsh doing well. Payne Haas with a 74, even though he was clutching at his leg, but he's doing fine. For the Titans, Fermor with a 61. You'd be happy with that. Tino with a 51. I sold him through the Origin period, and my God, has it paid off. 11, sold. I got the 82 in round 11 and then sold him. Since then, 57 and 51. Now, I did bring Adam Fanua-Blake for him, who scored around about the same, but since he's going low, that trade hasn't hurt me and still has potential to be a good move. It's about even at the moment, and in fact, you'd call that a win because Fanua-Blake was like 100k cheaper, so hopefully Fanua-Blake can cross the line a bit more from here. Jaden Campbell with a 27. At 700k, he is another option at 5'8". He's been fairly consistent. This is his lowest score of the year, but they did get pumped. So not quite alarm bells for him. And this could actually tank his price just that little bit and let us get him in for a bit cheaper, if that's what we want to do. Raiders Rabbitohs. Keon Koloamatangi, just first try scorer every week. It's fucked. He's the worst to death ride. And I'll be getting him in this week so that I can kill his try scoring and he'll go back to being a normal forward once I've got him. Anyway, Ethan Strange going gigantic with an 142. A guy I was up against head to head this week actually had him, which is ridiculous. But just look at those scores. Nah. 15, 15, 20, 30. There's a few higher ones in there, but nah, not for me. But if you had him, you'd be cheering. Hudson Young with an 87. He actually had an injury, I think. Yeah, Hudson Young with a calf complaint. He is kind of not super relevant with Origin and everything, but I think he is still fairly owned. 10%, yeah. He's another one I really want to get in for the run home, but there's just so many of them popping up. Horsburgh with a 62 is fine. He is on the chopping block though. His role seems to have changed a little bit. Fogarty with a 62 is fine. I would have liked a little bit more. Owen Paddy the GOAT with a 56 and a minus 11 break even, so he is finally going to make some money. And if he can continue getting these better scores, I'm not sure how many minutes he played, but finally looking like it's paying off to have him. Tarpany, another trade-in I didn't do, and this one is working out for me. Him bottoming out, I don't know how cheap it'd be before we jump on it, but if he, say, gets to 600k, that's pretty hard to toss up, especially with the Raiders being so hot at the moment. Tamale with the knee injury, so finally not having him hasn't burnt me. I feel like I wasn't too burnt by him, but he has been amazing this year. I feel like I just had similar scores to him in other positions. But yep, he is a sell now. He's done a great job. He's made 365k. I don't know the severity of this injury, but it's time to get rid of him. For the Rabbitohs, obviously Keon, who's going to go up even more money. So hopefully I can get him in. Hubner with a 62. Yep, just doing consistently better ever since I sold him. That'd be right. Latrell Mitchell with a 46. He's going to be getting pretty cheap. Let's have a look at the Rabbitohs run. Bulldogs, Melbourne, Dolphins, Manly. Okay, maybe not yet. Maybe round 20 we can look at him. He does have that bye late in the year. So it's not really falling into place for Latrell or for any of the Rabbitohs at the moment. Cody Walker injured again. I think he's nearing the end of his career with these injuries and age, and he had a good run. Nothing else too relevant here other than Humphreys getting a pretty measly 35. Tigers Panthers. The ref was absolutely in the pocket of the Panthers this game. That was bullshit. The narrative deserved Luai to get this win for the Tigers, and I'd be fuming if I was a Tigers fan. Regardless, Terrell May, nice and safe, 80, captained, take it. Skelton with a 66. I feel like to get these really big scores out of him, he needs to get a double. He is back down at 480k. Tigers run bye this week. Canberra, Manly, Sydney, New Zealand. It's not awful. And then I think they've had all their buys for the rest of the year. So if you need a cheap winger, maybe the Tigers click in. Because they did look good against Penrith. Granted, Penrith aren't that hard to beat anymore, but yeah, it was a good performance by them. I don't think there's really any relevance in the Tigers outside of Terrell May at the moment. Anyone holding on to Jenkins, my God. There are some huge scores this week, and I think it's just from people holding on to players. He is still in 17% of teams. Yeah, that's just incredibly lucky. Dylan Edwards, we haven't really talked about him as an option for the run home, and I can see why. With scores like that, not really. Panthers are another team that are going to make a push, so he could... they haven't really had their full strength team much this year. I think when they are all back and healthy, Edwards could be a sneaky pod. He is owned by 2%. Cleary is a sell. Isaiah Yo's still going low these days. Yeah, there's just not much relevance over here either. To'o may be an option for the run home, but not at the moment. Righto, I will come back. See you in a sec after the last game. Looking like he's going to hit about a 40 or a 50. So he should tank out a bit. And provided he does start to do a little bit better, he's one we'll definitely be looking to bring in. Stephen Crichton was huge this game. It just never quite translates over into Supercoach scores. Although in saying that, he does have a decent ceiling, but there's a lot of 40s, 30s, 20s in there. So I don't think I'll be touching that. Kikau got binned, so he's in for a low score. Dylan Walker crossed for a try. I don't think he's a Supercoach option though. Zach Lomax also going a bit lower, which makes it easier for us to get him in at the end of the year. I wouldn't be touching him until round 19 if he plays, otherwise round 20. Mitch Moses, kind of lackluster, probably wouldn't be touching him. Dylan Brown going low for anyone holding on to him, and Iongi not doing much. It's going to be fairly low scoring this game. It's been fairly tight, even though the Eels are making a bunch of errors. The Bulldogs probably could have capitalised a bit more. But yeah, as for par this week, I think it is another high-scoring week. I think 1,300 is a decent par score. So I'm not too upset with 1322. It looked like it could have been a lot bigger at the start of the week, but these things happen. These things happen. If you got a 1350 to a 1400, you're probably in for some green arrows. 12, 1100, probably going to drop some ranks. My next video will be going over the Origin teams, and on that video you'll be able to leave comments for bets, and we'll have a separate budget for Origin 2 as well. So if you already know what you want to bet on, leave it in the comments here. But otherwise, if the teams are out, then we'll do it on that video. Sweet, we're about halfway through the major buys, nearly getting to the run home. If you want to use any of the spreadsheets in this video, they'll be in the description. And I'll see you tomorrow for the Origin teams. Hooroo.